We're back, Mike Cernovich with audio. I hope we shall see. We had a glitch because I had a studio in here set up yesterday. We're launching a new podcast, and the new podcast, different mic setup, just a number of things that you need checklists in your life. But we're back now. We are live. All right, great. On a scale of 1 to 10, we're back with audio. On a scale of 1 to 10, how was your 2018? I'm going to read your replies real quick. This is, by the way, just a low-key, casual one. We're not really going to talk about anything really, really serious. So if you're trying to have a really, super duper serious one, I just want to hear, on a scale of 1 to 10, how was your year? Hold on. I tell you people, these wires and everything. By the way, I look like freaking, I've been out of the sun, man. I look like pale. People are like, Cernovich, you look pale, dude. Like, I know I haven't been hiking. I usually take my daughter on these really long hikes, and we were in New York, and we were in DC, and just lost all that color, that natural sort of California color, that vitamin D. The vitamin D, we lost it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how was your year? Some people are saying a 7. I would say my year on a scale of 1 to 10 was a 7. It was a 10 in terms of getting things finished, but we're still waiting to ship a couple of things. The final, Super Duty hoax isn't quite out there yet. So I need 100% super duper. That would be absolutely the 10, because we're still, there's all this last minute stuff that comes up. But enough about me. Enough about you. Oh, and I'm going to Florida tomorrow, so I'll get some sun. I'm so pale. So it's weird. Like when I'm looking at the camera, I look normal, but then however it renders, I look like Casper the Friendly Ghost or whatever. Trust me, I am not this pale. This is 100% the product of being in New York and DC and not getting that wonderful California sun. But a lot of people have been, well, actually, the truth is people haven't been worried about me. People have been mean. They're saying, you look like you aged. They're like, you look like you aged 100 years. And then I'll go on their Twitter profiles, and it's guys who are like a joke, dude. Trust me, I'm doing fine. You worry about yourself, because I'm able to see the haters. Last night, the haters were out in full force, and I would look over on their profiles, and it's like, bro, you need to, you're in no position to be criticizing me. Trust me. There are very few people in a position to be criticizing me. I'll just put it that way. I'm not going to be mean. It's the holidays. Christmas is coming up. A lot of things going on. So I'm going to be nice to people. I just want to hear. Yeah, the lighting is making me look ghostly. I know. I know. Trust me, I know. But I'm okay with that. I'm not auditioning for a model. I'm just hanging out, cleaning the year up, getting rid of a lot of the dead weight, getting rid of a lot of the really negative, toxic people. Well, but it's been a very good year. Audio's good. So on a scale of 1 to 10, dye the hair black. No. My wife, I used to color my hair before I met Shauna. She doesn't like me to color my hair. Girls like the gray. Girls definitely, girls like the gray. It just is what it is. My white shirts wash me out. I know. Everyone's a critic. On a scale of 1 to 10, how has your year been? That's what I'm asking. People say you look like you haven't slept in a month. But then I go over to that guy's profile, and it looks like you haven't been to the gym your entire life. So, what of that? Oh, so I had a heck of a year. Let's just talk about my year. You guys can talk about yours. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm in this really weird, not strange. How to put it? it's interesting people nitpicking at things that I should do. But like in 2018, finished Hoax, did 3 A Night for Freedom, finished a Gorilla Mindset, Power Mindset Masterclass, did multiple Gorilla Mindset seminars, got a book out, Hoax book, got another book about to come out, did a bunch of reporting, did the James Gunn thing, did all the trips and everything. So people are like, oh, I think the problem with a lot of people is, met a lot of great people. I think the problem a lot of people have is they live on the internet, and because they live on the internet, to them, they're like, you should be able to do 1,000 things. But I actually do things in real life. I actually do real reporting. I just don't sit in a podcast studio and share my opinions all day, right? You're actually in the world. By the way, I don't know how these weird, trolls, the trolls are back, but it was fine. Yeah, the winter sun washes me out. So we had a good year. 1 out of 10. What happened, my friend? You said you had a 1 out of 10 year. That is a devastating year, and I would like to hear why it was 1 out of 10. Damn, Cernovich, you are a savage. I am. I definitely am. Because I lost my patience, right? There's a lot of just really bizarro. There's just like a lot of weird, bizarro things going on right now where people go, you're nothing without the cult members. And then, but I'm like, well, I don't want the cult members though. And they're like, but you need the cult. It really is a cult. It's cult thinking. So I left the cult, and then they're yelling at me, telling me I won't be anything without the cult. And I'm saying, well, that's fine. Then I won't be anything. I'm okay. I'll be nothing without the cult. And they just can't let it go. That, they can't let it go every multiple times. Oh, you got to have the cult. You're nothing without the cult. It's like, okay, you're right. I'm nothing without the cult. That's fine. Can we move on? So it really is a cult. Yeah, Congress changed the laws because of me. So, Frank says, "Hi, Mike. Hear rumors you are a fake MAGA. Is there a way to refund the super chat? How do you refund the super chat? So, if you're going to ask questions like that, hearing you are a fake MAGA, that is a cult question. So you paid $5 to ask about the cult. And so I don't want your $5. So I think that I deleted it. Did it delete? Hopefully you get your $5 back, buddy. Because I don't want cult members. We're hearing you were fake MAGA. That's like a cult thing. Some guy on YouTube, I do have super chat enabled on YouTube. Some guy goes, paid $5 for a super chat. I heard you're fake MAGA. It is a cult. It's unbelievable that you would pay money to ask that question. Is this Scientology? Scientology isn't as bad as some of these people, right? Really is crazy. The wall needs paint. Yeah, I know. I'm going to put this up. I have a poster coming up. There's a bunch of decorative stuff I could do, but I guess my advice to people would be do more in your own life and worry a little bit less about my life. Because I had a super highly productive year. An insane year. An insane, just got projects out, shipped them out, got my wife pregnant. We're having a baby in January. Went all over the place. So when people are like, oh, you need to paint your wall. Why don't you paint your wall, bro? Why don't you do something with your own life, right? That's kind of the message I'm trying to share with a lot of the cult members, is that rather than worry about if I need to paint my wall or, if I look a little, if I'm not quite suntanned enough, why don't you worry about your own life, bro? Because I had an incredible year. I made it happen all day, every day, 365 days. So you need to worry about yourself. Killer film coming out. I'm in, this is kind of a joke, but literally in Penthouse magazine, which is one of those sort of funny things. Yeah, so that's one of those funny things where Penthouse asked me for pictures, but not those kind of pictures. And the article's kind of mean, Mr. Bad Faith. Right-wing internet celebrity Mike Cernovich has sabotaged the careers of a Hollywood director, a veteran congressman, and more. Is he really calling it quits, or is this more media trolling? So I think it's funny that I've sabotaged a congressional candidate's career, right? It's an odd way of saying Cernovich is the only journalist who uncovered a confidential sexual harassment lawsuit settlement leading to John Conyers being forced to resign and leading to Congress to completely change the law, right? That's a very peculiar way of saying he's an internet celebrity who sabotaged the career of a veteran congressman. Well, okay, that's certainly one way of putting it. Another way of putting it is that my reporting on James Gunn and my reporting on John Conyers had these results, right? But you know, we're used to this now. We are definitely, we're just used to this. You gotta take it in stride. You just have to learn to laugh. So anyway, on a scale of 1 to 10, my year was a 7. And the reason it was not a 10 out of 10 in terms of what we got done. 7 out of 10 in terms of what we were able to release. So if Hoax is out, fully theatrical, fully digital downloads to everybody, then 10 out of 10. Right? 10 out of 10. If we have digital downloads out by the end of the year, 10 out of 10. Until then, 7 out of 10. Now, that's still a great year, don't get me wrong. Got a new healthy baby on the way. Got to travel all over the country with my wife and my daughter. We were just in New York. Everything is great. So yeah, there's so much greatness going on. It was a great year. I got my video masterclass out. Broke, original reporting. You name it. So somebody says you had a 4 out of 10. Nothing really great happened, but a lot of SHITTY events. But what happened to you? So you were very ill for half of the year, and you spent too much money on recovery, and your cat was also... Well, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry to hear that your beloved pet and you had a tough year. So I hope you have a better 2019. And the way to approach this is find out, you can't help it if you got sick, right? But find out how you can have a better 2019 by knowing now what it feels like to be sick and what it feels like to be healthy, and realize that you're so much stronger than you thought you were. That's the lesson to take away when you were sick and you come out of it and you recover. The lesson that you take away from that is overcoming and pushing through that sickness showed you how strong you are. Now use that newfound strength, that newfound resilience, and push that forward into a newfound venture. I'll give you an example. Let me show you. I'll show you exactly what I mean by this. Having this condition, I'm retweeting it to the top. So having this medical condition was by far the worst thing that happened in my life, and it would make my year that it happened probably a 3 out of 10. It was horrific. There's no way to put it. There really is no way to spend it. It was a bad year. When did it happen? 2013, 2014, something like that. It was bad. So here's me. So I was just really like, that's my neck. Like, you constantly look like I have some people, you can see this. If you look right there, that's a chunk of skin missing out of my neck. I kid you not. So if you look at that, when I would move, because I had no natural, I wrote about the whole thing. So you can read the whole thing. But I had no cortisol on my skin, which means I had no skin moisturizing. And then I would turn like that, and then my skin would rip. So if you look at this, I'm missing a chunk of skin. Pardon me for the gruesome pictures, but I'm missing a chunk of skin right there on my chin. Because if you move your neck and you don't have any moisture, rips off, right? So that was red skin syndrome. I wrote all about that, and you can go on my Twitter handle to see it. And it, to suffice it to say that, but I still, I went out in public, and I'm a pretty good looking guy. Very, very hard to go from being a good looking guy like I am to being, like hideous. Really, there's no way to put it. I looked hideous, and For me, I learned a lot about vanity. I learned a lot about how I was too vain. I learned a lot about humility because I went from, because I'm pretty good looking now, but when I was 7 years ago, or whatever, I was hot. I was like a hottie, man. Women would come up and hit on me. They would give me free stuff. It was like a different kind of world. And I went from being like hot to being a ghoul, to being, hideous. And then so I had to learn a lot. I do a lot of work about myself. That's why my old writing used to be very glib and superficial. I was a very just superficial party guy. It just wasn't spiritually complicated. I was very vain and just a total, D-bag. So this condition, going from just being a really hot looking guy to like people look at you like, ugh, what's wrong with you? Was a very, very humbling experience. And so too was the pain. I mean, this is what my skin would look like. It's like lizard, dude. This is not Photoshop. This is not makeup. My skin was like covered in scales. It itched, it burned, it hurt. I mean, you name it. This is my chest. Skin would fall off, chunks of skin, just literally that's chunks of skin missing from my body due to topical steroid withdrawal and everything else. So I learned a lot, but what I learned is I overcame all that. So you can see this like a huge, that redness is not a sunburn. You can barely see a white patch of skin. And there, so the issue though is that you, what you learn that once you get through this, how much stronger you are. And that's kind of the message. So here's me. I'm a very good looking boy, right there, 33-year-old. You kind of can't see, it's a little blurry. That was me before and after this like flare thing happened. So I'm very good looking, hit on all the time, just living the dream, hot body, you name it. And then that's how I looked, that's horrific. There's no way to spin that, right? That I don't need, please don't give me skincare tips. This is years and years and years ago. I will block anybody. Have you given up gluten? Did you try coconut oil? By the way, here's a tip. If you know somebody with a chronic condition, whether it's a skin condition or depression, quit giving them advice. They've heard it all 1,000 times. It's just like the equivalent of spam. Oh, have you tried this thing? No, never occurred to me to try coconut oil, this obscure compound known as coconut oil. Nobody's ever heard of that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your, for this tip. It's just annoying. It's tedious. So if you know anybody, just keep it to yourself. They've heard about it. So I went from a really great looking guy to a freaking ghoul who looked like that. And that's my face, dude. That's how my face looked for probably 8 weeks. And that taught me a lot about vanity. That taught me a lot about humility. That taught me a lot about spiritual depth, because if you're an attractive person, most people who are good looking are not deep. They're not complex. They're not boring. Okay. This is really just the reality. Okay. Why? Because we as humans, because we as human beings tend to default to where we are in life. So if you're born and you're just good looking and everything in your life is good, you just go through life good looking. But if you're hideous like this, you can't rely on your looks anymore. You have to find a plan B, right? It's like, this is a plan B. When you wake up and that's how you look, that fundamentally changes, this is me, that fundamentally changes how you interact with and deal with the world, right? You go from very cute, nice body, great skin to overnight like that. You better get spiritual. You better look within, because you can't look without. So you can't look within if you're looking without. And if you're naturally attractive or good looking, and this is why most people who are good looking aren't deep, they're vapid, they're glib, they're superficial, because they're too busy looking outward. Oh, look at the vanity and everything. That's why people, when they criticize, oh, you didn't brush your hair, you didn't do this. I'm like, you're a loser, right? You're a loser. I've done all that. I've done the party boy thing. I've done things and hung out with the kind of people that you watch when you watch those beer commercials about all the cool people going past the Velvet Road in Vegas and I did all that. I partied with all those people, all those models that people oogle. I don't care about any of that stuff. I've done it all. So people come in, oh, your hair's a little messy, or, you have a pimple or something. It's like, you're such a loser. You've never done any of that and you're criticizing other people. Why don't you fix yourself, right? So you have to get spiritual. You have to look within. You have to find that inner resilience. And what happened for me is when I came out of this a much nicer person, a much more compassionate person. I don't fat shame people. I used to fat shame people. I'm not happy to admit that. I'm ashamed of that. I don't know if ashamed is maybe too strong a word, but I used to fat shame people, and that's just not cool. Why did I do this? And that was because I was just vain and vapid and just glib, just not a good person. So in a way, I think that was God's way of humbling me and making me, learn to focus within and making me to learn. And that's why when people are like, oh, you have a little wrinkle or these insults, I'm like, wow, you have no idea about what I've gone through and what I've experienced. You have no idea how I wake up and I feel like I look great. Because if you've looked like this, everything in life is about comparison. If you've looked like this, and then you wake up looking like me, you feel amazing. You're like, wow, I can't believe how great I look. Now, objectively, I'm not a model or anything like that, but you develop just gratitude for what you have. You develop this reservoir of strength that you can draw on for other things because you've overcome adversity. And that's why you want to that's why you really want to learn and go through the process. If you're going to be in pain anyway, and if you're going to be, I'm blocking everybody talking about coconut oil. I don't need to hear about the coconut oil. If you're going through adversity, you have a couple of choices. You can get bitter or you can get better. You can get deep and find that reservoir of strength, get that spiritual complexity, or you can just barely survive and you learn nothing. And that happens with a lot of people. They go through a traumatic event and they don't come out of it better. They just come out of it either the same or they come out of it bitter. But there's a choice there. There's a choice to look within and find that strength and find out that you are stronger than you ever knew you were and that you're able to overcome so much more. And then when you come out, what would seem like a hard challenge would be nothing. So people go, oh, Cernovich, how do you get over your fear of public speaking? Well, I went out in public looking like a ghoul, because I had to buy groceries. It's not like I was living in a mansion somewhere. I had to go out and buy groceries and I had to live my life. So I just had to go out knowing I looked like a ghoul and deal with the shame of looking like this. And then you're going to do a public speaking event. You're like, public speaking, that's nothing compared to this. Those are the lessons that you have to learn and the lessons that you have to teach when you go through this adversity and when you face this adversity. And, enough of this picture is kind of, but that is really how I looked. This is no photoshopping. I lost hair. You can see how my hair is all the way, backline receded because my scalp was like that too. So I lost a ton of hair. My eyes would swell shut. So my eyes, when I would wake up and I have to go like this because it's vasodilation, the blood vessels. What happened is the blood vessels they vasodilated to 3 times their normal circumference. And because of that, you're overwhelmed with nitrous oxide. And you know how you get a pump at the gym, which is nice. You get you get the veins coming out and you feel good. Well, imagine if you have a pump at in your face and your eyelids and everything. Well, that's what happens. So then your eyelids swell shut and then the skin tears away because your skin stretches out to 3 times the size it's supposed to be. And that's pretty, that's pretty rough. Oh, thanks for the super chat, Right Side. Congrats on a successful 2018. Here's to more happiness. Well, thank you, Right Side Broadcasting Network. You guys do the best work, the best live streams and everything. And I hope everybody subscribe to them as well and that everybody has a strong 2019. So yeah, as you can see there, your eye, they just swell shut, dude. Swell shut. So you learn, you develop a gratitude for life when you go through that. Or you can be bitter and you can be angry all the time. It's your choice, really. Life sometimes doesn't give you a choice, but then you always have a choice. And what do I mean by that? Life sometimes gives you no choice, but you don't have a choice. So I did not have a choice. I did not have a choice but to look like this. No choice. No choice. So life put me in a position where I did not have a choice. I'm going to be miserable. I'm going to be in agonizing pain. I'm going to be hideous. I'm going to lose all of my attractiveness, all of my looks. There is not a choice. But the choice was what I could learn from the experience. The choice was to put work on myself. The choice was to quit being a nasty person and quit being so vain and quit being driven by materialism and quit being driven by, oh my God, can I see, every little vein in my arm when I go to the gym and, all the obliques and, staring at myself in the mirror all the time and just the narcissism and everything. But I could have taken another choice. I could have said, oh my God, I had this great looks. I had this body. I lost it. I'm bitter. I'm angry. That's a choice too. So I chose to do spiritual work on myself and to reflect on my own life and my own path and ask myself what kind of energy I was putting out into the world and what kind of energy I was putting into the universe. I did a lot of reflection on that. And that fundamentally made me, who I am today. And then I also chose that when I was suffering and that I was in pain, I also chose, I still went to the gym, by the way. Look at that big arm. My arms are not this big, by the way. I was still, even though I was in like agonizing pain, and I wasn't shaving my arm, by the way. Your skin falls out too. Or not your skin. Your skin falls off, but your arm hair. You lose your body hair. So I went to the gym and I made it happen, dude, in excruciating pain. Like that. Just every day, man. Water would hurt. You name it. Like water would hurt. My neck would split up. So that was my neck. So if I'd go to the gym and I'd bend my neck, like they took like a little X-Acto knife. That's what it's like. Imagine you have a little X-Acto knife and somebody goes, all these little X-Acto cuts. And then you go to the gym and it makes it bigger because you're flexing. And then you start to sweat and there's salt in sweat. So have you ever heard the expression salt the wound? So you go from, little X-Acto knife cuts to bigger cuts till you go to the gym and you're sweating. And now you literally have salt going into the open wounds, right? But so that wasn't a choice, looking that way, that agony, that was cold showers, water, it all hurt. So that wasn't a choice. And that's what I mean by life sometimes takes away all your choices. And in doing so gives you a choice. And in a way, it gives you a more powerful choice because you have just singularity of focus. Singularity of focus, right? Singularity of focus. And by the way, a lot of people are, somebody says, you don't know what it's like to be disabled, get shot 4 times, that hurts. Well, I'm sorry that happens to you. But what I can tell is you're not evolving spiritually. And I am very sad for you, but that's your first impulse is to say you have it worse. And the answer is, well, yeah, somebody always has it worse, right? I was still able to walk. I was still able to do certain things. I'd had enough money saved up that I didn't have to, work for a couple months. I could take that time off. So I had a lot of blessings, no question. But I didn't yell at people and say, oh, your struggle isn't real because I have it worse than you, right? That's not spiritual development. That's not spiritual depth. That's bitterness and wallowing in self-pity because somebody always has it worse. I have people who come to my seminars, the only thing they can move is their mouth, right? They come to my mindset seminar. I love these people. They come over and they know that wherever they are, they're going to make the best of wherever they are. And they're going to do the best that they possibly can. And that's the approach. Life takes away your choices and you have no choices in one regard, but then you have more choices in other regards. Rather than, of course, trying to figure out, who has it worse and, all this other stuff. It's not the healthy approach. It's not the healthy approach to take. So yeah, these pictures are old, by the way, so please don't send me skin things and tips. These are year-old pictures. You can clearly look at me. I don't look like this, right? Have you tried coconut oil? Yes. I use coconut oil. Thank you for moisturizer. I have a skincare line that I use. My face is fine. This is me now. This is me years ago. There's a difference. Know the difference. And that was really the lesson I took from all of this, or that you know, in adversity and in the really bad things, you have no choice, but then you do have a choice. You have no choice. You do have a choice. Thanks for tuning in, my friends. I'll be back probably later. Maybe I'll do a newsy Periscope. Maybe I won't. Gorilla Mind Rush is back in stock. I forgot to tell you guys. Gorilla Mind Rush has been out of stock for a long time. And it's back. GorillaMind.com. It's on sale, I think, for like 35%. I'm not going to, you can figure it out. If you know what it is, you know what it is. And you're like hyped. If you don't know what it is, then you don't know what it is. And that's fine. So, GorillaMind.com. Rush is back in stock. And it's incredible. And it's, because it's a restock sale, 35%. I'll be doing some more Periscopes probably later. We will see, but I'll also be doing some traveling. I don't know. We'll see. Thanks for watching. Mike Cernovich, CERNOVICH.com.